Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to read deep learning papers effectively by going over the general steps to take, extremely useful tools, determining which papers to read first, and finally, I will answer some common questions that most beginners have. So, without further ado, let's get started. The first step is to determine why you are reading the paper in the first place. Determining what you want out of a paper is really important as it allows you to focus on the key information that you are looking for and also allows you to quickly determine if the paper you're reading is worth reading in the first place. Now, logically, you might ask, how can I determine if the paper contains the information I am looking for? This is where I introduce a super useful tool to help you with this. The first tool I'm going to introduce is called Paper Digest. It is a completely free and extremely useful tool when you want to determine if the paper contains the information that you are looking for. It uses AI to determine the most important information from the paper and novel features introduced in the paper, and using this tool will quickly allow you to determine if the paper is suitable for your needs. Additionally, it provides you with what you could be looking for in the paper. For example, you might not exactly know what you're looking for, and this tool could provide you with insights on what you can learn from this paper. I use this all the time to help me efficiently digest the most relevant papers for my particular need. After you determine the paper you're going to read, it is time to move to the second step, which is paper reading steps. Now, these are just the steps that I take to fully comprehend a paper in depth. You don't have to follow the exact same steps. The first step I suggest doing is to read the abstract and introduction. Now, Paper Digest does give you a good abstract and introduction, but I think reading the actual paper can provide more details and further solidify what is going to be covered in the paper. Step 2 is to read the conclusion and discussion/future work. Reading the conclusion gives you a summary of what is covered in the paper and the novelty of the paper. Reading the discussion/future work section will allow you to determine the flaws of the work and what could be improved upon. Now, after you finish step 1 and 2, I suggest reading the experiments section to see and visualize the performance of the model or the importance of the dataset. While reading the experiment, it is important to think critically on whether their experiment is actually valid with no biases involved or if it's just complete bogus, right? Reading the experiment will help you determine if the paper is legit and what is truly novel about it, right? Now after you finish step 3, I suggest actually reading and diving into the model architecture or dataset. Most papers provide visualizations, so definitely look at them to help you. I know that you're probably asking a lot of questions right now, but don't worry because I will be answering some of those common questions when it comes to reading deep learning papers. And if you have further questions, you can always ask them in the comments section below. So when you're reading about the model architecture, it is not necessary to fully understand the mathematics unless you want to dive really deep into how the model works. I suggest that before you dive into the mathematics, just try to understand what the model is doing and how it is doing it. You can look at the model's source code, visualization, and data, and try it out yourself. This will give you a deeper understanding of how the model functions. And after you do so, you can then go back to the math and see if you understand it better. Now, lastly, I suggest rereading the paper and answer any questions that you might have. And as intermediate steps, you can always make note of what is relevant and important and list down questions to review and ask later, right? Okay, now let's move to the common questions and tools to help you digest the information. I highly recommend reading this book if you don't understand the math notation and math behind the paper. It is only $10 and it covers the most widely used math notations in research papers, and it will definitely help you understand the math behind the paper. Now, let's talk about some of my favorite tools for reading the actual paper. The first tool I would like to share is Mendeley. Mendeley is a PDF viewer that allows you to have multiple PDFs open, highlight important text, make notes, annotations, and also organize your notes in an effective manner. It also has a sync functionality so you can read the PDFs that you downloaded anywhere. And I personally use this to take notes on papers that I read all the time. It's super useful. The next tool that I use quite often for reading papers is Humata, or Humata. I have no idea how to pronounce it. It is an AI tool that allows you to ask questions and get really good responses. It sometimes really surprised me how well this AI can perform. And I love using this tool to clarify any questions that I have and any concepts that I didn't really understand when I was reading the paper. Overall, it's just a great tool to use to clarify any doubts that you might have. Finally, if you are wondering which paper you should read before reading your current paper, you can use LitMaps. LitMaps can help you determine the root paper that inspired other major papers. You can use this to determine the papers that you should read first. And I use this all the time to track of the papers that I'm reading and also the papers that I am going to read. So this is definitely a tool that you want to have in your toolbox and save it for later. And that is it for this video. If you guys found this video helpful and would like to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, you can always leave them down in the comment section below and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you next time.